What is your reaction to James Comey?
Well, I'd actually say, how is he going to explain to his grandchildren all of the lies, the deceit, all of the problems he's caused for this country? I think a thing that I've done for the country, the firing of James Comey, is going to go down as a very good thing. FBI is great. I know so many people in the FBI. The FBI is a fantastic institution, but some of the people at the top were rotten apples. James Comey was one of them. I've done a great service for this country by getting rid of him, by firing him.
So you have no problem explaining this to your grandchildren?
No.
That was President Trump on Fox and Friends talking about James Comey. And joining me now with reaction is Fox News national security strategist Sebastian Gorka, NRA TV contributor, former Secret Service agent Dan Bongino, and Fox News contributor Tammy Bruce. All right, the three of you, great guests. I love having you all on tonight. But I'll start with you, Tammy, because you're sitting with me.
Thank you.
Women before men. You understand that,
go.
guys, right? Okay. So why is it taking so long to get the information that we're trying to get, and will we ever get it?
Well, look, they're stonewalling everyone because there's something to hide. That's normally why you don't hand over something when you're supposed to be the morally superior framework. You do that when you want to hide something. But let's remember the president there is very comfortable, it's obvious, because at this point, let's remember the context. Every single prediction he's made has come true, including one of the earliest ones where he declared that his campaign was being spied on. He was mocked. He was ridiculed.
Yep.
Clearly, now that has been confirmed. So people are underestimating the president. When he says something like that, you should believe him. And he is correct. We've seen the behavior of Mr. Comey decline, the nature of his book, effectively the leaking of material that he wrote down with meetings with the president. All of these things indicate a man that has some problems. And I will also note that Joe DeGeneva has noted that there are individuals in the FBI who want to come and testify, talk about what's going on at the FBI, but they need to be subpoenaed so that they will have protections against the agency, and Congress will pay their legal bills.
As whistleblowers.
This is just the beginning as whistleblowers.
Right. And so, Sebastian Gorka, I mean, can the president himself declassify some of this information that we're trying to get, and will that short-circuit the whole thing?
Absolutely. He has classification authority uniquely. He is his own adjudicating agency as well. So what he needs to do right now is to order the declassification of every document relating to the Crossfire Hurricane operation, which is political espionage against another party's candidate. And on top of that, the most important thing that he can do right now at the stroke of a pen, he needs to pull the clearances of Clapper, Comey, Brennan, and Hillary. What are these people doing, making comments on national television, still with clearances and picking up paychecks from CNN and MSNBC?
Sebastian, hold on a second. These people are not in office anymore, and they still have security clearances?
Yes.
Well, is that for everybody? Does George Bush, well, he was a president. I don't really care much about that. But what are these people doing with clearances? Is there a requirement that it be taken from them? No, is there a regulation?
It's just tradition that you keep it until it expires.
Take their security clearance. Bongino, what do you have to say?
Judge, Jim Comey's in a world of trouble. Two principal reasons. Number one, he has yet to explain what I'm calling paragraph 1. What do I mean by that? When I was a Secret Service agent, you write a case report on a case. Paragraph 1 says how that case started. I received a call about a stolen credit card, wherever it is. No one has given us paragraph 1 on why they started a counterintelligence investigation against Trump. We've heard 3 different stories. Point number 2, there are felony leaks in this case. There was an October 31st leak to the New York Times about the existence of the case before they disclosed it to Congress, and a leak to the Washington Post about the investigation into Mike Flynn. I believe, by the way, that's why they're not declassifying everything, because they may have a serious felony case against the leakers.
I agree. Tammy?
Yeah, look, I think the irony of this is that they thought this Russia complaint was going to bring down Trump, and what it's done is unlocked the door to show us a level of corruption that none of us could have imagined. And this is where, and again, the right man at the right time, if anyone's got the discipline to see it through, to face these individuals who've had enormous worldwide power, it's Donald Trump. So this is the man, not just of the hour, but a man of fate. And this is a time where we've got to be able to get this done. It's being handed to us. And this is nonpartisan. Every individual's got to care, regardless of your party, regardless of what you think of the president at this point.
Sebastian, I only have 15 seconds left. If this is the case, and if this thing was started, and they've lied, I'm not going to say they've lied, but they have so many different starting points. It was July. Now we know it's the spring. I mean, when is this going to be over? Do they try to just get in November and call it a day and impeach the president quickly?
I think Robert Mueller is going to try and drop a report that will be used as a political weapon in the midterms, absolutely. But we have to have an investigation of the political espionage now, Judge.
All right. That was good. That was just a few seconds. Thanks, guys.